and eating that food, then going home. Yeah, no, I'm going to finish the work. Yeah. So we've been discussing about unconditional love. By the way, feel free to eat while I'm talking. I have no problems with that. What I want to do now is, what do we do next? We've been trying to consider the fact that most of our lives, we have learned to love conditionally. That is, if the person is doing right, we love them. When they start doing what we don't like, we withdraw our love. When they do the things we enjoy, we reward them. When they do things we don't enjoy, we withdraw our reward. And that's what we call conditional love. And we have been looking at the idea that when we give conditional love or we receive conditional love, it doesn't satisfy. After a period of time, we get tired of it. And we feel again that loneliness and that fear. The loneliness and the fear is what makes us continue to buy or to try to get people to love us, regardless of how they are able to. We looked at two things. Can you remind me? That helps us to determine in our hearts that our love for somebody is conditional. Two emotions that will rise up in your heart that shows to you that your love is conditional. Can someone remind me? Anger and disappointment. So whenever there's anger or there's a disappointment when we are reacting or relating with people, it's a sign, it's a sure sign that our love for that person is based on a specific condition. Is based on a specific condition. It may be the condition. For example, someone may say that I'm just too tired. I just don't like the way my friend or my fiancé or my spouse is behaving. He's always putting his socks and his shoes everywhere. And I'm just tired of picking up after him. And so I would say the love that person shows is conditional. It's based on the condition that he picks up after himself. Or a person can say about their spouse, the person that they love, it can say, look, I really don't like the way my spouse cooks. I don't enjoy the food, and so I'm really disappointed at the type of food you are cooking. I'm not happy that you didn't cook or something like that. Or I'm not happy that you didn't take out the garbage. Then that relationship, that love that we offer to that person is based on the condition that they do those things. We want to come to the idea, and we have been talking about it, where we love people regardless of who or what they do. In other words, we want to be loved. What I'm trying to say is that every one of us want to be loved just because we are. You enjoy being loved for who you are. Because you are a person, you are loved. Because you are available to be loved, you are loved. You want to be respected regardless of what work you do or don't do. You want to be respected and honored whether there's money in your bank account or not. You want to be respected and honored whether you make a silly mistake one day or the other day. You don't want the reaction of people to you to be based on something you did or you did not do or something you have or do not have. We are all wired that way. That's what we've been talking about in the first section, that we love to have that kind of love. However, it's in very short, the resources are very limited. Very few people have grown up to understand unconditional love. Because in our growing up, we discover that we don't see our parents loving us even when we make mistakes. They do love us, but sometimes what we read from their actions is that they don't love us. It's like they withdraw their love. Because when we make mistakes, they react in certain ways. And so we learn to do the same over the years, that when someone doesn't show up the way I want them to, when someone doesn't do what I want them to do, I will withdraw my love, or I will withdraw my commitment or connections. So now, in talking about that, I want to spend the rest of this time to really talk to us about how we can begin to have more of the unconditional kind of love in our lives. How can we begin to have love that is real, that is unconditional? We need it. We have agreed that we need it. So there are two laws that I want to talk about now. The first one is the law of choices. And the second one is what I call the law of expectation. The first one, law of choices. In other words, everybody has a right to choose. Everybody has a right to choose. And it is not fair to choose for another person. It's a principle, it's a law, whatever you want to call it. But in every relationship that we have, we must give the room to the other person to make their choice. We must understand that the other person has a choice and they can make that choice. For example, if you are having an issue, so let's use the example of a man or woman that finds that their husband is always putting his things everywhere, doesn't clean up, doesn't put his shoes, socks everywhere, and she didn't grow up like that. Or the other way, a man who likes to be very neat and organized, and the woman is not. She puts things everywhere. And then one is complaining. So the one that is complaining is always the one that we have to deal with. We can't deal with two people at the same time. We take one at a time. So let's say the one that is neat is always complaining. Why do you put your things everywhere? I'm tired. Why can you be so inconsiderate? You just put your things everywhere. And I've been trying to teach you all this while that you have to arrange your stuff. You may be so wondering that who will talk like that. We've heard many more worse things than that. People have fought over the fact that he didn't put the toothpaste in the place where he's supposed to put it. So they are fighting and they are arguing, and this person is so tired. I need to leave this man. He's very inconsiderate. Okay? Now, that woman has 3 choices in that relationship. 3. Number 1 choice is to accept that man the way he is, putting everything everywhere, and hate it. Which is the one she has already chosen right now. The man is putting the thing there, and she hates what he's doing, and she's complaining. That's one choice. She could choose that. And some people do that for years, and the day the children leave the house, they run away. The second choice is to let the man continue to do that and like it. That's the second choice. It's a choice. Look, this man will never change. He's going to be putting things anywhere, and I'm just going to enjoy my life regardless. The third choice is to leave. There's no fourth choice. But strangely enough, people want the fourth choice. You know what the fourth choice is? For him to change. You don't have that choice. It's not your choice to make. The law of choices says that you cannot make a choice for another adult. You don't have that choice. You have only 3 choices. To leave it, accept it and hate it, accept it and like it, or leave. There's no fourth choice. And I want that to sink in. It's a corollary to the first thing I said when we started. We must realize that when we are not happy in any relationship, it's not because of the other person, it's because of you. You are the one that chose not to be happy. You can be happy regardless of whatever anybody is doing. It does not make any rational sense to give your happiness to any other person. So we've talked about that all through the first session, so I won't repeat that. But the law of choices that I'm talking about is very important. It's a corollary to that. You have to think about it very clearly. You don't have a choice to change people. It's not your choice to make. So when we do our anger thing, showing anger, so that the person can choose to move the way you want them to move, you are only buying love, and when you do that, you only build up for being lonely and afraid. It doesn't stop. It cannot stop. When we do that disappointment thing, I'm so disappointed at you, I'm complaining. When we use all those behaviors that we talked about, they only help to build that cycle of dissatisfaction, frustration, and loneliness and fear. We must, if we want to live happily in our relationships, whatever relationship, doesn't have to be marital or emotional, we must choose, number one, that we will take our happiness in our own hands, and number two, that we don't make choices for other people. Every time, realize that you got a choice to make. You cannot make a choice for your friend. You cannot make a choice for your boss. You cannot make a choice for anybody. So you have a boss that is very mean, very crazy, behaves anyhow. You have only 3 choices. Stay in that company and let him keep being mean, and you too hate him. Or stay in that company, you be mean, but you enjoy yourself in that company. Or you leave. You don't have a choice to change the boss. It can never be your choice to change somebody, because it's their choice to make. So a lot of people are breaking up their marriages not because of anything that the other person has really done. No, I'm not saying the people didn't do anything. But I'm saying that the reason why the relationship is so messed up is because both of them are lacking in true unconditional love. They don't feel loved. See, the man that is putting his things everywhere does not feel love, because what he wants is a wife that will say to him, I know that this is how you've grown up. You are so busy, that's why you left your shoes right there, and you are tired. You've worked all day and you are tired, and that's why your shoes were there and you forgot them there. Okay? And I care and love you regardless. I'm not going to break up this relationship, and I'm not going to be on your case and attack you and mess your mind up when you have other bigger things to discuss. I will leave you. That's what he is expecting. Well, what the woman is expecting is to know that I've been working hard to clean up this house, and I want it. If you can just put the thing in the right place, why can't you just go to show me that you love me by just making this house neat? You see, I want the house to be neat. So when you come, just take your shoes, put them at the door. Don't take them in. Just right as you come in, take your shoes off. How hard is that? She wants to be loved. And the man wants to be loved. But they are all both lacking in unconditional love. They don't know how to love regardless of how the other person behaves. So they attack each other. So the woman attacks the man feels attacked, so he goes down to the basement and starts watching his games, football. Then she gets angry again that how can he just go and sit and watch football? And he's mad at her that what's wrong with this woman? Someone has gone away for so long. She can't even sit down and say, welcome. And then the cycle continues. And then when they get to bed, the man wants something. The woman says, I'm tired. How can she be tired? Cycle. After 2 years, the thing is too much. Everybody wants to bail out. They've drained themselves to the point where there's nothing left. And the reason why they've drained themselves is because they didn't have enough in the first place. And so when we want to build our lives and build our relationships and have happy relationships, we must start from the point of really having a bank of people around us who love us unconditionally. People who you can just tell your biggest boo-boos and they still say, I care about you. We need them. Most of us don't have any. Some have 1 or 2. One person cannot do it all. You need a few of them around your life. When you be with them, speak with them, by the time you are leaving them, you feel pumped up, you feel strengthened, you feel encouraged, elevated. You know, there are many people that they don't want to go home after work, because they know that when they go home, somebody is going to tear them down. And the person tearing them down doesn't want to tear them down. The person is also longing for someone to just give them unconditional love. They want you to come home with a flower and just say, oh, I've been longing to come home to meet you. Now, how can they be longing to come home to meet you when they are going to be attacked? So there's this vicious cycle that keeps going on. Keeps going on. And it will never stop until someone breaks it. Usually I say the person I'm talking to is the one to break it. It doesn't matter who they are, man, woman, doesn't. Whoever the one that took it upon themselves to correct the situation and comes to me for counseling is the one that I go on. You solve the problem. You start loving the person unconditionally. Oh, of course, it's much easier if the two of them can hear the message at the same time and they can start the process and actually work with each other to love unconditionally. It's easier. But if that is not the case, and for suppose first it's not a marriage relationship, it's just a natural life relationship, then you can begin to build a way of life that loves unconditionally. And by the way, you love everybody unconditionally. Everybody. Now, when I say love, I know our minds starts ringing a bell. You bring emotions into it. I'm not talking of emotions. When I talk of love, I'm talking of intentions. Desire to the best for somebody. To desire the best for someone may be something that they don't like. But you know, in your own mind, that's the best. That's what you think is good for them. That's what you do. Moving on. So now, how can we build that bank of friendship, love? How do we find people who will love us unconditionally? How are we sure that when I tell this person my mistakes, they will not use it against me? How can I be sure that they will accept me with my flaws? How can I be truthful in these things that I'm doing and not suffer for it? Now, it's a question that we ask. I wish I have an answer for you. The answer is that you can't know. No, it's the truth. There's no way to know who is going to be truthful. There is no way to know. The only way is to tell them the truth and see what they do with it. And this is why we are in this problem we are now. People are so scared to trust somebody with a few information. Because what will happen? They will mess you up at first. Because they themselves, they are lacking in love. So what we do is we start. I believe that the best place to start is to make up our minds, number one, that there is a possibility to love unconditionally and to find people who will love you without conditions. Now, they may not be able to love you all round in your life, because you may not even have the opportunity to tell them everything in your life. But in certain areas of your life, in many areas of your life, you'll be able to find people who you will expose some of your weaknesses to and your feelings to, and they will accept it. Now, the first step is to believe that it is possible. I know it's possible because I've been experiencing it, I've been living it, I've been working on it for many years now, minimum of 8 years. Been working on this in this way. But far beyond that, before that, I've been practicing to love. And it's possible because I've met many people who are able to love you, accept you. So I want you to know that it's possible. And that's where it starts from. You start from there. Then the next thing you have to do now is to begin to make up your mind that, you know what, I'm going to take out some of these masks that I wear. And what do I mean by masks? There are ways that people, see, when you meet somebody, what I see when I meet somebody, I'm looking at it because I'm aware of what I teach. So I find them trying to read me to know what I like or what I don't like so that they can adjust themselves to that. That's what I mean by a mask. One person got frustrated one day and told me, you know why I don't like hanging out around you? I said, why? He said, because I don't know what you are thinking. I told him it's intentional. It's intentional. I don't need you to behave the way I want. Whatever you behave, I like it. I'm never going to run away from you based on your behavior. I'm here. The only time I will stop being your friend is when you tell me never to call you again. Because I don't need to see your behavior for me to love you. But it's a practice. We got to learn that. We got to learn that loving people has nothing to do with who they are, what they do. It's a choice we make. I will want the best for you. I will do my best to help you. And I will respect you and honor you regardless of who you are. Whether you are the president or you are a baby who doesn't know anything, I will honor you and I will respect you. I will value you. You are precious. Very, very, very few people will do you that way. But when you find somebody that does that to you, you don't need long. When you sit with them for 30 minutes, you feel it. You feel the attention they give to you when you listen to them. When you speak to them, you hear them speak to you in approving ways, even though they are correcting you. And so the first step, if we are ever going to discover unconditional love, we must remove the masks. We must let people know who we really are. We must be able to say, you know what? Let me tell you the truth. I hate ice hockey. Now, that's like a crime in Canada. But if you don't like it, you don't like it. Let what happen, happen. Remember one time I was in school, and I was just sitting with some people, and they were just talking. They didn't know whether I was a Christian or not, and so I heard them saying, there's this place in USA, and in the workplace they read the Bible. They read the Bible, and everybody was just saying that as if it's a negative. I quickly said, at the point I was looking, what do I do now? Let me let them know who I am, so that if they don't love me, I know whether they love me or not. So I quickly said, you know what? I like to read my Bible at work, and I would love that kind of place. Now, I was expecting them all to say, yeah, look at you, you're foolish. No, I was shocked. Out of my mind, I learned something brand new. Immediately, I heard the woman saying, oh, yeah, me too, I read the Bible sometimes. Whoa! Where's that coming from? I realized that if you are confident in who you are, people will adjust to you. Most people want to be loved. As long as you are not condemning anybody, you are not judging anyone, you're just loving and you are just being truthful to who you are, you eventually begin to find true love. I wish everybody has heard the first part, because every time I want to refer to the first part, so I encourage you, take the video, listen to it. I want us to grasp the idea. Once you begin to take off those marks, it's not easy. But the moment you begin to take them off, you begin to first, there's an interval where you begin to figure out that people will reject you. Some people will be angry at you. When you tell them the truth, some people will be angry at you. They will be mad at you. Why would you tell me that? Why would you say that? Why would you say that you don't like to watch movies? Why would you say that you don't like to go skating? When you know that that's what I like, it's okay. You will soon find people who don't like skating like you. The interim is always the tough part. Interim, when you are still trying to when you are trying to move from masking to opening up, that's when it's hard. After a while, once you've gone through that process, it begins to move forward. In our own relationships with the people that we love, we committed to, the spouses, marital partners, in those relationships, we may find that we find ourselves having masks too. You can have a mask even with your spouse. Oh yes. Oh yes. There are many spouses that don't know a lot about the person that they are married to. Yes. There are people that are married in more than one state, more than one countries. Remember one time a woman said that one day this lady came and said, I'm getting married to somebody. And the mother said, I'm coming to visit you. But she didn't come when it was supposed to come. And when she came, she just showed up suddenly and said, I want you to go and call that man that you said you want to marry. So the lady went, knocked on her boyfriend's door. Another woman was there. The woman says, who are you? She says, who are you? Say, I'm the wife of this man and these are his children. Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. Oh, there are many masks. Forget it. It's not new. People pretend to be whatever they are not. We need to start tearing off those masks. The reason why we do that is because we want to be loved. We don't want to be thrown away. We don't want to be rejected. There are women that you ask them, why are you still in this relationship with this man who is abusing you? I've met a woman who's been beaten short. There was a time when she was choked, almost killed her. Why are you still in the relationship with this messed up guy? Because he gives her the attention that she wants. It's not true love. But there's no better love. Right? There's no better love. There's just that, that attention followed by a beating. But she would rather have that attention followed by a beating than that loneliness and feeling of being of no value that you get when you are not loved at all. And I want you to understand, and I use that example with reason. I want you to know that the pain of not being loved, of being lonely and being ignored is so strong that it pushes many people to attempt suicide, and it makes many people stay in abusive relationships. The pain is so strong. We don't want it at any cost. So we'll rather stay in a relationship where we are selling something for love and stay in that vicious cycle rather than choose that from now on I'll tell the truth and I will deal with the consequences. We must have faith that there's true love to be found in life. Not just one person loving you. When I mean true love, I'm not talking one person loving you like Hollywood. I'm talking about you being loved truly. The next step after telling truth is then to stop using all those behaviors with which we used to coerce people or buy love, so to say. So we stop using the lying. You know, we've talked about that in the last discussion. When we lie to people or refrain from the truth, just reduce the truth. We have to start stopping that. We have to work consciously to stop it. So remove the mask and you consciously stop trying to buy love. When it comes to Christmas time, my wife and I, as soon as we got married, we made up our mind we don't give Christmas gifts. We don't. Because the pressure is too much. I don't like the feeling that it gives us. Now, some people enjoy it. I'm not saying you should stop it. I'm just telling you the process that we had to go through. The feeling of I have to go look for gift for everybody is not joyful. I don't do anything that doesn't give me a feeling that I'm contributing to somebody's lives. And when the thing is so demanding and everybody's expecting it, it gives me no great joy. And so we stop that. We completely stop it. We don't give gifts. If someone gives us, we receive it and we say thank you, and we don't reciprocate. And if they don't give us next year, we are happy. We don't care about that. What were we trying to do? We were trying to say to ourselves, we will love people regardless whether they give us or not. And if we don't give them people that don't love us, then that means their love was conditional in the first place, and so we don't really need that. But we have not lost any friends since we stopped. Now, whether they call us, what they call that, Scrooge or whatever they call it, I don't care. We have to bear that. That's the cost of really determining whether people love us or not. I've intentionally said no to things just because once the feeling of contributing to somebody is not there, when I feel that the reason why I'm doing it because somebody expects it, I begin to want to not do it. Because I need to know that this love is not conditional. And once the person reacts in disappointment or anger, what does it prove? It was conditional in the first place. If I'm supposed to call you to come and, if you're expecting me to call you to speak and I say I'm not calling you to speak and you go off your handle in my birthday party. Maybe I'm having a birthday party and you expect me to maybe when you did yours, I was the one that spoke. Then when I'm doing mine, you expect me to call you to speak to and I choose not. Then you get angry. I say, thank God I didn't call you. I feel so happy that I didn't call you. In short, that reaction makes me so joyful. When I was courting my wife, I just discovered that I was always happy when she was angry. I didn't plan that. I just realized it. I found myself in it. Anytime she's angry and she's speaking, I feel so happy. I will be smiling. She will be more angry. And then she will say, why are you so smiling? I say, because I just want to know what's in your heart. And when you are angry, I'm sure you are telling me the truth. Really, that was my position. I wanted to know that woman as much as I could. And so over the first couple of our meetings, I got to know her more. Because I would do some strange things. She would get, why do you do that? Blah, blah, blah. Yes, okay, now I know you don't like that stuff. Is it because in many relationships, people want to do what they think you want. I don't need you to know what I want for now. I want to know you. That's what unconditional love looks like. Whatever it is that I find in the package, when I open it, is what's in the package. That's what's there. I'm not going to try to change what's in the package. If I give you a gift of an Apple TV, you open it and you're expecting what? An iPhone or a Samsung phone? It will not change into a Samsung phone. It will remain an Apple TV. What you should do is discover what they use Apple TV for. And enjoy it. Don't start pressing it like a phone. But we do that in our relationship. We find somebody, and then as you are with them, you discover the guy doesn't like to take off his socks at night. He likes to sleep with them. Then you start to force him to remove it. No, that's him. It's an Apple TV. Just find out why. Why do you like to keep your socks on? He'll tell you why. Then you love them regardless. And then you discover when you operate like this that your happiness is not in anybody's hands, it's in your hands. You don't give it away. If he smiles to me, I'll be happy. If he approves me, I'll be happy. If he praises me, I'll be happy. If he gives me, I'll be happy. No. I'm happy whether he does it or not. If he does it, it's just extra icing on the cake. And so we need to start that. And when we start doing that, you make up your mind, okay, there's real love. There are people who will love me for who I am. I believe it. Now, that thing I've just said, there are people that I say that to, they cannot agree with me. Because they've been abused so often. They've gone through a lot. That for them to even agree that it's possible for someone to love them without any conditions is hard. Just try to take it. Now, some of us, it's easy because we are not as abused as them. But I want you to know that there's need to know that consciously. There's possibility for someone to love me and no conditions are attached. Then follow that by saying, I will be truthful about who I am. What does that mean? How does that work out? Number one, you tell them the truth about your feelings. Okay? Tell them the truth about your feelings. Don't just talk about the weather. After you finish talking about weather, talk about something else. Tell them about how you feel. How you feel. I'm feeling a little bit, just stressed, or I feel disrespected. I'm a little bit afraid that this will happen. Share some of those things and see what happens. What they do with it. How they handle it. This is how you build these things. Share them. Tell the truth about your feelings. Next thing, tell the truth about your weaknesses. Tell the truth about your weaknesses. There's nothing wrong with saying to somebody, I'm not as organized as you think. Or I'm not very organized. If they don't want to be with you because you're not organized, I think it's better they start going now than 5 years from now. What do you think? It's better. But sometimes we are so much in need of that love that we just say, let me just endure for this next couple of months, and then we just lie. So I'm trying to say, please, let's not fall into that trap. Let's just tell them the truth. And if they run away, that's okay. But the beauty of it is that if you tell the truth long enough, you'll soon find someone that accepts you. Boom. You got the first one. You stay with them, hang out with them from time to time. Then you find another. Hang out with them. Then you find another. Now, our parents are supposed to be one, but we all know that sometimes our parents themselves have not gone through that kind of life, and so they are not able to provide that kind of love. Moreover, they are emotionally attached to some of these things, and so they cannot provide that kind of love. They will need a little bit of space on some things. So we need to have more than one person. I always say to people that, the reason why it's so easy for me to pray for somebody to receive healing, and sometimes maybe hard for me to receive it, is because I'm involved in the sickness when it's me. But when it's not me, I can believe with them that in praying for them, they will be healed. because I'm not emotionally involved. So the same with love. There are people who are not so emotionally involved that they can love you and provide that bank of support and love for you. They don't need anything from you. They just are there for you. So you begin to have them. The more of them you have in your life, the more you're able to react in love at all times. In other words, you will not find yourself getting angry or disappointed at anybody, especially the ones that are close to you. You know, I want to quickly move on because of time. Do you know that people get more angry with the people that are their spouses than every other person? Strange stuff. Strange. We are crazy people. I'm telling you. One day I made up my mind that cannot be right. This is somebody that has given themselves to me as my spouse, dedicated themselves to serve and live their life for me. Of course, I've done the same. How come I'm so much nicer to others than them? There's something wrong with me. So I changed my mind. So it's not going to happen again. I will choose to love my wife regardless. Doesn't matter. In short, all the things that she's going to do wrong from now till forever, I forgive her everything right now. I forgive her everything, and I'm not going to get carried away. I'm going to choose to treat the people around me that are close to me with utmost respect and love, without expecting anything back. Just that I would do with a stranger. And the reason why we do that is the law of expectation. You know, I skipped it. I'm back to it now. The law of expectation. And that law is that you have no right to expect anything from anyone unless they promised it. You have absolutely no right to expect anything from anyone unless what? They promised it. So don't now be disappointed when they don't give it to you. My wife has never promised me that she will cook for me and feed me every day of my life. So I'm never expecting the food. But I'm pleasantly surprised every time the food is there. My wife loves to cook. She cooks all the time. But I appreciate it being there. When someone has not promised a thing, don't expect it. The fact that they've done it 10 times does not mean that they must do it the 11th time. Right? If they choose not to do it the 11th time, you must continue to love them. Now, if you don't love them and you get angry or disappointed, why? Because your love for them was conditional. You change that. The law of expectation. This is what destroys marriages. We have so much expectations that many of them are very unrealistic, and some of them are just uncalled for. And so, if we begin to understand this truth, and we begin to patiently reveal who we are, patiently look for people who will love us for who we are, and patiently begin to stop all those behaviors that we used to try to buy love. We try to stop them. And we begin to remove any expectation from any of our friendships. And give people the choices and let them make their choices. And never try to influence them for our personal goals. Just find out what they choose and say, wow, that's what you chose? Well, it's okay. It's your choice. I will stand with you. But this is what I think. But I will still stand with you so that when we discover that this is a better idea, maybe next time you choose it. This is what true love looks like. When I first got married, my wife and I, she would just say, this color is better than this color. I would say, how do you know that? I would just choose the wrong. I would say, I will do it my way. It didn't take long. Short. I don't know how many weeks it took that I realized that she's far better than me in color combinations. Far. Not just a little bit better. Way better. So now when it comes to color combinations, I want to put a flower here. Let's put this. I say, please, just call my wife. Anything she decides, I love it. It's good. Why? I discover my weaknesses, and I'm willing to accept them. There's some things that I do better than her too. It took some time to realize that, okay, I'm better too. So now, when it comes to those things, no waste of time. I do them. So what happens in relationships is that we must learn to release ourselves to just allow, to discover who the other person is, what their strengths are, and accept them. Accept those choices, those people, and then live with the fact that they can choose whatever they want to do. They can choose to leave you. They can choose to stay with you. They can choose to love you. They can choose not to love you. Whatever they choose, it's okay with you. You keep loving them, because your loving them is not conditional on them loving you back. Your loving them is not conditional on them doing whatever they want to do. So we build. Now, let me just give an illustration, and then we'll take some questions. We'll do some other things, and then we'll do some exercise, and then we'll take some questions. If you always like to do the illustration, if you were to win the jackpot, you win $20 million right now. As you are, maybe you're checking your phone, and then you just discover that you have won $20 million. You will realize that if you have a car and you just go downstairs, and as you got to the car, as you're about to open the car, somebody just brushes the car. You will not be too angry. Just say, look at you, don't do that next time. But there was a day myself and Pastor John were in front of the church. He was backing up. Then he just brushed the Mercedes Benz of somebody. Oh my goodness. The woman came out like a tiger, screaming at the top of her voice, "You hit my car." But if you had just won the jackpot, if you hit the car 2 times. Why? Why is that? Why is it that when someone has won some money, or they are happy, or they are in a good mood, they don't get so much anger? They're not so angry. Because there's a flow, there's something. They are not so desperate. Right now, if there's food for us to eat now, you will freely say, let's eat it together. No, Pastor, have some. When Bola came to take my plate, I said, Bola, have this. He said, I have mine. Take. Imagine if you have not eaten for 3 days or 4 days. The plate is about to touch the table, the food is gone. How? People are hungry for this thing. So when you have a bank, when you have continuous flow of unconditional love, you find out that people's behavior does not affect you as much. They still behave the way they are behaving, but reaction is different. Your reaction is different. And so we must therefore create avenues for ourselves to build up a bank of love. Now, not conditional love, the type of love that strains you or stresses you, the kind of love that is given to you regardless of what you do or what you don't do. And that's what we're talking about. So you connect with people, until that love is built. And you try to hang out around those people, and then you go back to your relationship and react and work with them. So I want to remind you to be patient, and I want to remind you that when you are patient, you will get the result. But if you're not patient, you will stop it so quickly, and you find it tough. Okay? Very good. Now, I want us to do an exercise. Do an exercise. After that exercise, I'll say 2 more things. Then I'll throw it open. Is that okay? I'm supposed to finish at what time? 3 o'clock? And then the questions will follow. Okay, so that's why I'm pacing it now. We use about 15 minutes to do these exercises. Can you please put on the rules for the exercise? Now, I would like you to be in pairs of 2. So if you have your spouse or your friend or your special friend, pair it up. If you don't have any special friend or a friend, randomly choose anybody, doesn't matter. Now, for the people that have their special friend, it's good, or their spouse, it's a good practice because they can continue to do it at home. But for those who not, it doesn't matter. They are not going to be revealing some intimate stuff. So now the way you are going to do this is this: you have about 2 to 3 minutes each to speak for each exercise. We have about 2 or 3 of them, depending on how quick we go. We can do 3 or we can even do 4. So what you do is one person speaks. One person speaks, and when that person is speaking, please don't interrupt them. You know, there are some of us that our minds are always racing. It's how God made us. We are not condemning you. But when someone says a sentence, it makes you think of something. Please, don't say that thing that it makes you think of. Just keep it to yourself for now. Let the person finish whatever they are saying. Are you getting it? 3 minutes they will speak, or 1.5 minutes, how long they want to speak, but not more than 3 minutes. When they finish saying what they have to say, the only thing you can do if you want to ask a question is to interrupt them, is to clarify what they are saying. So if they are saying something and you are not getting it, you say, is this what you are saying? And make it minimal. When you get it, when you finish, the other person will now take over. So the listener can now speak. And once the first person speaks, the second person will speak. And then when both have spoken, now both will also exchange notes on what they heard, what they learned about themselves while that person was speaking, and what they learned about the person. Is that okay? Understood? Understood? Any questions on the exercise? I have not yet given you the question. I have not given you that. I'll give you that next. There are 3 questions you are going to discuss about. Are we okay? Do you have your pairs? Everybody has somebody? Please do that. Do that before I give you the questions. Yes? If you have your spouse, you have to do with your spouse. Don't do with another person's spouse. Yes? Okay. Got it? Yes, the question, so that those people that want to start early can start. The first question is, share something about yourself, how you have been feeling. Let me give you some examples. How you feel, or how, I'll give you some examples from my... Okay, example would be, I feel uncomfortable doing this exercise. It's not easy for me to talk about myself. It's easy, isn't it? Just the truth. But now, it will be very strange if all of you say that. I'm only giving you examples, not so that you memorize it and say it. Okay, instead, I won't give you too many. I'll give you one more. I'm not as happy as I want to be. I guess that's why I'm here today. Okay, so something like that. Something that's about how you feel. Something, what you're trying to do is open up a little bit. Now, not the type that would now destroy you. Not like, I have somebody's head in my bag. I hope you don't. For your own good and for mine. But yeah, I mean, it's not the time to burden somebody with that kind of a heavy load. Because then we have to decide whether to call the cops. That's so don't say such things. But what I think you get what I mean. You get what I mean. So go ahead and make sure you have a person to... Is there anybody that doesn't have a partner? Anybody that doesn't have a partner? So, okay, go for it. So what will happen is that after all the exercises, we'll just randomly pick people from tables. One person will volunteer from each table to share anything that they got, any experience that they had from 3 minutes each. Yeah, it could be 1 minute. It doesn't have to be too long.
But for the moment, it's only for that question.
Just for that one question. Take some time to say a little bit more than that. You can say more than one sentence. Say 5 or 6, 7 sentences. And don't interrupt each other. And try to reveal something Something, no. For those that are couples, go deep. For those that are couples, go deep. Go speak something that is really close, really important. Something not about you, but generally something that try as much as possible to make sure that what you are saying is not, just boasting about good things. Not just the great things that are happening in your life. Say some things that, yes, can make you a little bit vulnerable. Not too vulnerable, but a little bit vulnerable. A little bit. Your feeling. What you are feeling, yes. And please make sure that you are talking about yourself. Talk about yourself. Okay. We should be thinking of switching over to the next person now. Don't worry, there's a few more exercises. So. Yes, you should be in the process of switching now. You should be in the process of. Okay. I know that some people are still talking, but I want to keep it so that we can still do the other side of the story, which is sharing what you experienced. Now, if you have, for example, if you have not finished sharing, catch up. But the idea is that yes, 3 minutes has passed. 6 minutes has passed. Okay. Okay, I give extra 3 minutes. Extra 3 minutes. Do whatever you want to do with it. For those who are finished, go ahead and share what the experience feels like. The comments. What did you learn about yourself while you were listening to the other person? And what did you learn about the other person? But for those who are still sharing, share. I'll give more time. And stop hiding for a change. Something like that. What were you going through as you were telling somebody that you really don't know so much? Something a little bit personal. A little bit. That's why I use a little bit. I don't want you to go and be unloading it because you don't know everybody. You don't need to unload too much. Another one says, when you talked about yourself, I felt closer to you. I didn't care about the mistakes you'd made in your life. In fact, I care more about you now than I did before. That's some of the things that people have shared as they listen to their partners really say what's going on. You know. So it is important that we get that. Now, we can do that exercise again, but let's go to the next exercise. Now you are going to share with them, you're going to share with your partner again some of the behavior that you have been using to buy love. Yes? You get it? Can you please put those behaviors on the screen? Lying. Yes. Attacking. It's going to be up. Yes. Acting like a victim. Running or clinging. Yes. Does anybody want me to run over what they mean? Anybody? Yes. Run. Okay. I'll run over it very quickly. Lying, when you don't tell the truth exactly about what's happening. For example, I'll give you an example. For example, now you travel, like I've traveled now and I want to buy something, for myself. But my wife and I, she can see my account. So, if I spend that money now and buy something and then she asks me, why do you buy that? And I say, I needed to really look nice for that presentation, so I bought myself a suit. Now, that looks like the truth, but no, it's not the truth. You both would have still listened to me if I didn't have my suit on, right? But I've presented it as if it's necessary. That's the kind of line I'm talking. What we do to prevent somebody from really being angry at us, or what we do to make them like us more. Like, for example, when you've been going out and you've been telling people that you are who are not. Attacking. Attacking is every time we say, I don't like what you are doing, or you're doing this. Anger is an attacking thing. And then complaining or any aggressive thing that we do to kind of force the other person out of fear to respond in the way we want them to respond. Acting like a victim. Saying, you didn't do this. You know that, I'm not working now, and instead of you to come and stay with me at home, you go around playing with all your friends, and complaining or acting like a victim, acting like the person should pity you, something that you do to whip up some pity, yeah. Then running, withdraw, not talking to somebody, not greeting them, not hugging them. Running can be you used to hug somebody before and you stop hugging them, you now start shaking them. It's a kind of running. The person will notice. You're no more my friend. You're now an official. Former. What's up? It's good? That's fine? That's fine. Good. It's running. You are trying to force the person to know that what you are doing is wrong and I want you to change. Clinging. Things that we do to stay, to keep staying in relationship. It can be anything. Sometimes a wife could decide to have sex with their partner just because they don't want the man to be angry. All those clinging things. Visiting someone too many times just because you want them to. All those things anyway, you get it. You would share with them, the partner, the one you have been using. And that's it. 1 or 2 or 3, as many as you can share. We don't all use all of them equally. We use one more than the other. So you share the one you think you use the most, and let the other person share, and then you discuss with each other what you've learned from what they are saying. It's not easy to confess these kind of things, but we do them. You have to think about it. And then what will be fun if you are a spouse is to confirm. Well, is it true or not? Is it true or not? Go ahead. Confession time. A bit easier. Just share with somebody some of the fears that you've had. Some of the fears that you've had. Fears. that you had. Not fear of spider. I mean lifetime fears. I give you some examples. Okay, no, this one. As you talked about those lessons, I'm afraid my children don't love me. I'm afraid to admit that I don't know nearly as much as I've always pretended I do. Things like that. Fears, things that sometimes pop up in your mind and, just doesn't make you feel comfortable. You know that it's there. You don't want it to come out, but if it comes out, you feel that it will not be good. Things like that. Now, of course, like I said to you, don't say incriminating things, please. We don't need those yet. Now, the reason why you won't speak, if you are speaking to me, you can say anything you like for two reasons. Number one, the law makes it possible for you to speak to a pastor and not have any fear of being arrested. Number two, I know myself. I don't know the other people. I don't know other people, so I don't know what they will do with their information. So share something with them of your fears, but not incriminating. So go for it. I give you 6 minutes to do all that. We say zero expectations does not mean that we cannot ask. The fact that we say zero expectations does not mean that we cannot make requests. The difference, though, is that when we make requests, we make them while still giving the other person a chance to make their own choice. When we make requests, we give the other person the opportunity to still choose. So, for example, if somebody, like the same story of the lady that doesn't like the way the husband puts his shoes, she has the right to ask him in a nice way, in an uplifting way, to put his shoes in the right place. Now, but the way to do it is to come from the position of understanding of why he does that, and to come up with a mind that I will help you do what needs to be done. So you request with understanding and with a commitment to help the person to achieve what you're asking for. So request is still possible. Request is still possible, but it must be done properly. Now, I hope I will have some time to deal with that. Maybe somebody will ask that question later. Anyway, thank you very much for listening. God bless you.